All right, good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us for our call with Anthony Poindexter. As always, please raise your hand and I will unmute you. We'll start with Greg Pickle.
Coach, good morning. How are you?
Hey, good morning, Greg. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing well, thanks. Coach, I'm just curious, your top three, and we talked about them before a lot of Jaylen, KJ, and Zaki, just how they played in week one and what you've seen from those guys' growth overall between preseason and now.
Well, the biggest part was just the intensity and the aggression they played with. Um, I thought they were locked in. They knew the game plan. They played off of each other well, and but I can't say that I didn't expect it. And all three of them have played a lot of football here, and you know, they know what they mean to this team and this defense. And how they play and the success we will have the way they play. So.
Daniel Gallen.
Morning, Coach. How are you today?
Good morning.
James was talking about the quality that you have in that safety room, and he said that he believes it's probably one of the better ones in the country. How do you feel when you hear something like that? And what do you feel just overall in totality with what you have in that group?
I mean that's nice to say. We got to play the games, but it's a credit to the kids and how they didn't work. Like I say, all three of these kids been in our program for 3+ years, and they work in the off season. They work during the season. They practice hard. They practice the right way, and like I said, it's just a credit to them and the focus that they come to work with every day.
Rich Garcella.
Thanks, Paul. Dex, can you talk specifically about Zaki and how he handled last year, and what have you seen from him since spring and during camp and now? What is he doing well?
Well, I mean, at the end of the season, I don't think a year ago he had the season or the production that he really wanted to have. We had a long talk, at the end of the year, at the end of the season, and we addressed a few things with him that we thought he could get better at. And instead of moping and pouting, he went out and you could tell doing winter workouts, spring ball, that he had a different mindset. And obviously, he's very skillful. He's a very talented kid, and he had to tweak a few things like we all do. As you start to grow as a player. And to his credit, he tweaked a few things, and he just you can see the fruits of his labor.
Tyler Donahue.
Hey, Dex, thanks for the time today. We appreciate it.
Hey, thanks, Tyler.
Jaylen, a lot of people have been raving about him in the program, outside of the program, what he did week one. I think he played like 80% of his snaps toward the line of scrimmage. How would you describe his fit in that Lion role, and what does it kind of do for his game overall?
Well, I mean, he a unique player that he can play on that second level and play on the third level. Obviously he a talented blitzer. He a talented cover guy. He got a lot of facets of his game that I don't think a lot of people are aware of. Obviously we are, but he played with emotion. He's very smart football player, probably one of the smartest football players I've ever been around when it comes down to just retaining knowledge and kind of knowing what the other team does, is about to do. So, I mean, he's just doing a really nice job.
Bob Founders.
Anthony, how are you doing? Thanks for your time.
Hey, Bob.
Anthony, I wanted to ask you, Bowling Green this week, they have some pretty talented skill players at running back and also at tight end. What I wanted to ask you is practice field competition for your safeties over the years. You guys get to go against a lot of good running backs and a lot of good tight ends on the practice field. Do you feel that's how has that impacted your safeties development and got them ready for some of the more challenging matchups they're going to face on a week-to-week basis, not only non-conference, but inside the Big Ten?
The old saying, iron sharpens iron. And, we very fortunate here at Penn State that we, especially on the defensive side of the ball, we get to go against very talented players that our offense have on their side of the ball. And anytime you're going against Katron and Nick and, Tyler Warren, Theo, Brent Strange, like our guys have been against, they all pros that they're going against every day. So When we show up to the game, we feel prepared, and yes, Bowling Green has some very talented players, but luckily we have some talented players that we can go against in the spring, go against in fall camp, even go against each other during the week of practice that can get us prepared for the speed in which we're going to have to play.
Seth Engel.
Hey Dex, thanks for doing this. When we talked to James on Monday, he talked about the defense and how maybe people aren't talking about them enough. And also found it interesting that the stats from the West Virginia game this year compared to last year are maybe a little boosted. What exactly do you attribute to that success in game one, especially considering losing a number of starters and also a defensive coordinator?
Well, I just think, you got to get a credit to the kids for buying in. In college football, change happened every year, and our kids didn't bat an eye. Coach Manny had an opportunity to go be a head coach, and the kids were excited for him. Coach Allen coming in, being a former head coach, but being a longtime defensive coordinator. They different people, but our kids, they bought into the message. They bought into, how Coach Allen do things, and our kids just like to play football. They like to play hard-nosed football. Coach Franklin and definitely created a culture even before I got here that our kids work. They respect coaching. They want to get better, and they come to work that way every day. So, we got some really talented players, but all the time when you have talented players, if they don't mesh or they all ain't pulling in the same direction, you don't get the result. So I think our kids then bought into, just how we do business here, bought into how Coach Allen do business. And, we're just working as one. Obviously it's game one. So, we still got a lot of things we can improve on. But as long as they got the right mindset, we should be okay.
Daniel Gallen.
Dex, Dejon Lane got the green light from James, and we saw him on the field on Saturday. What did he do during preseason camp to put himself in that position to see reps and to get that classification as a freshman?
Well, obviously you can see he got the measurables, he got the speed. Through the summertime, he started to come on. During fall camp, you really saw that, like, hey, man, this kid got a chance. I kind of put him in the mold of, like, how we brought along Jay Reed, how we brought along KJ as true freshmen playing. And quite frankly, we need him. I mean, our depth, we don't have a ton of depth, proven depth anyway right now in that room, but he mature enough to, know what he's doing. Obviously he got a long way to go. But if he just keep watching those older guys, they'll help speed up his process. But he got all the physical tool set to be a really good player here.
Rich Garcella.
Dex, in what ways is this group of safeties comparable to when you had Brisker and Tig? And I don't mean that saying who's better and who's not, but like what can this group do that those guys couldn't? What can't this group do that those guys did? And how far? What do they have to do to be in that? To be considered in that class?
Like the beauty of having this group now is they had a chance to play behind Brisker. They had a chance to play behind Tig and Keaton and learn how we do business and learn how, me coming in new 3 years ago, I have different expectations for a room than maybe the previous coach. But like I said, these guys like to work. They really, the thing all three of them have done is watch the dude, their predecessors. So they watched Brisker closely. They watched Tig closely. Not that, like you say, not that they got the same games, but they all saw the work ethic. They saw how they practiced. They saw how they competed. And kudos to them that they hey, man, I know I have to do the work ethic, the competing part, the toughness in order to play. Now, they know I'm going to allow them to be them. That's why they got different names. They not Brisker. They not Tig. They Reed. They Winston. They Wheatley. And I allow them to be them. But, it's a certain standard of how aggressive, how tough, and how, competitive we're going to play. And they all bought into it. And you just watching them, like a proud papa when you see the guys they trying to set a new standard for the safety room here.
Joe Smeltzer.
Hey, Coach, thanks for the time.
Yes, sir, Joe.
So you said over the offseason that it's hard to train young safeties for Coach K's offense. Now that we're through fall camp and into the season, how would you say the younger safeties have adjusted to that, and how do you think that's made them better?
Well, it cut down on a lot of the moving pieces. Obviously, we got a unique offensive style. Bring a unique offensive style. Obviously, it really helped them going against West Virginia, because West Virginia had a few things that they did similar to our offense, not as to the extreme that our offense does them. But now, you get into game plan, you cut some calls out. The playbook ain't as big. You can really focus in on what that team like to do. Obviously in training camp and in spring ball, offensively and defensively, we putting the whole playbook in. And you really don't carry the whole playbook in each week. So it helps streamline once you get to game week. Actually, you can just, drill down on what the offense really trying to do, what their favorite plays are, and it just helped the kid. And we didn't drill down on what plays we want to run. So it kind of just shrink everything down to a manageable size for him.
Time for two more. Tyler Donahue.
Anthony, you obviously have a strong feel for the defensive back group and kind of what they bring to the table every day. What did Jaylen and AJ kind of add to that mix back in January? How have they built upon that? And from what you've seen, why were they in position to be the starting cornerbacks in week one?
Well, Kemper, he just bring that, that experience, that veteran leadership. He's not a very talkative guy, but you can see how he played. He played with a confidence. He played with a aura about him that I've been in big games. This ain't too big for me. And I think I got speed off of that. He's not a panicky kid. He very, very calm and collect at corner. AJ bring that pit bull. Like he very competitive. He's very tough. He really want to be the best. And you can see it every day, and I knew once both of those guys got locked into our system and knew what we were expecting, they was going to be really good players for us. And, we're definitely happy we got both of them.
Final question, Daniel Gallen.
Dex, what have you seen from someone like Vavon Torre and LaMont Payne, some guys who we haven't seen too much of in your backfield?
Well, Vabu, he coming along every day, again, younger player, just trying to learn how to be a college football player. Obviously high school and college very different. But he coming along, he's very intelligent. He really can pick up stuff really quick. Now it's just, for him, it's like playing at a college level speed every play, and not that he don't have the ability to do it. It's just you ain't in high school anymore. Anytime you can't let up off the gas. And that's kind of the same thing with Payne. It's just a certain urgency in which you have to play at this level. And I always tell the guys, like, we give up points. The D-line don't give up points. The linebackers don't give up points. We the last line of defense. I guess that's why they call us safeties. People should feel safe around us. And, you have to play with a certain urgency and a certain mindset. You can't have laps. You're going to get beat. I understand that. But you have to always know that I got to be full throttle, urgent in everything I do. And they learning it. I'm not shocked at where both of them at. It's a process of playing safety. Obviously when Payne moved from corner to safety, a lot of people think that's an easy jump. It's really not. It's really, you're looking at the game from a totally different angle. You got a lot more on your plate as far as communication. You really almost like the quarterback of the defense. So both of them, progressing, hopefully, as this year go, we get them closer and closer to ready to play in the games.